Sound off with me, folks, on an absolute beatdown to beat LA. This was a coast-to-coast victory for the Boston Celtics. Dominated this game from start to finish. It's their fifth end-to-end victory of the season, which I believe is an NBA best number. So very impressive what the Boston Celtics did during this game. It was a 21-point victory over the visiting Los Angeles Lakers, and you know that's got to feel good on a Friday night. This is the Sound Off postgame podcast presented by Xfinity Mobile. Thank you for tuning in and giving us a listen on your favorite podcast platform. We need to talk right off the top about the ridiculous stretch of basketball that the Boston Celtics have just completed. Okay, hear me out on just incredible it is of what they just did. They just wrapped up a 5 games in 7 night stretch, one of the most challenging stretches that an NBA team can go through. Many of those games were against teams that are at or near the top of their respective conferences. The Celtics came out of that stretch with a 4-1 record. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the Celtics have now, in the last 13 days, beaten the likes of Orlando, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, and Los Angeles. Those 5 teams have a combined 74-37 record on the season. So not only have the Celtics rattled off a ton of wins, and especially in a short fashion over the last 7 days, and 13 days in total, they've been doing it against great teams. This has been remarkable to watch. It's been remarkable to watch this team come together and figure out a way to win, and on many nights like tonight, win big against really good teams. And oh, by the way, in that stretch, they also had a 45-point win on the first night of a back-to-back last night in Washington. Truly a remarkable stretch by this team. And I don't think that a lot of people are kind of wrapping their heads around what's going on here. Yeah, they just went 4-1 in 7 nights. In the last 13 days, they have taken down Orlando, Detroit, Cleveland, New York, and Los Angeles. Again, I'm going to repeat, those teams are 74-37 this season. Did you expect this coming into this season? It's only early December. I can't say that I would expect anyone on the outside to think that this would be happening right now with the Boston Celtics. Just, again, truly a remarkable run that they have been on. They are playing great basketball, and it just seems like they are really coming together and really starting their ascension to take off for the rest of the season. Now, tonight they won, as I said, by 21 points, and they did it despite being a negative 17 in free throw attempts during this game. Think about that. They won by 21 points while taking 17 fewer free throws than the opponent. How does that happen, you might ask? Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what the Boston Celtics did offensively. 54% from the field as a team. 53% from three-point range as a team. Lights out shooting across the board. Jaylen Brown, another unbelievable game with 30 points. Didn't seem like he had it early on, but what do superstars do? They always fill it up. They always get there. And Jaylen Brown got there yet again tonight. 30 points on 22 attempts. Jordan Walsh, another 17 points. All 5 starters scored in double figures. Derek White, 5 of 10 from distance for 19 points. Peyton Pritchard, 15 points. Then he had Sam Hauser drill 4 threes off the bench to score in double figures again for himself. So just a well-rounded offensive performance from the Celtics. I believe I saw this that at halftime, they already had 8 players who scored at least 6 points at halftime. Really, it was anyone who checked into the game had it going offensively. There was just, I tweeted this out in the middle of the game, they were just eviscerating LA's defense. Like there was no shot at stopping them, especially with the type of defense that Los Angeles was playing. Yeah, they were on the second night of a back-to-back, and they were missing a couple guys, a couple very important guys. But, yeah, the Celtics were playing on the second night of a back-to-back too. So take that into consideration. But let's dive in on Jaylen Brown a little bit more. Another 30-point game. As I said, this is his 12th 30-point game of the season. On this night, 38-8 on the night. Really played at just that beautiful pace that he is finding this season in the mid-range, scoring from beyond the arc when necessary, getting to the basket when he wants to, and then really dispersing the ball. He's having a career-high season not only in scoring but also in dishing out assists. He's been so good. Unquestionably an all-NBA player right now. And I think today he cracked the MVP ladder top 10 on NBA.com. I think he should have been there already. And I actually think that he's ranked number 10 on that list right now. He should be higher. And just the way that he continues to play, put another gem together tonight, he should just keep going up that list. And Jordan Walsh, we got to talk about Jordan Walsh. You know, I turned to Taylor Snow, fellow writer and reporter for Celtics.com, in the middle of this game, and I said, and I actually sent this out on X as well, but I said, Taylor, this whole thing with Jordan Walsh, it kind of feels like Linsanity, but for a role player. Like when Jeremy Lin had Linsanity take off, like he came in and he was like the star of that team at that moment. He was scoring like 25 points a night, just like going crazy offensively. He was the guy at that time. That's not what this is with Jordan Walsh. He's playing a perfect role for the Celtics, and yes, obviously, he's scoring a little bit. Scored 21 points the other night. I believe it was 21, 17 again tonight. He's scoring at a pretty good clip. But this is about the role that he's playing. He has gone from kind of out of the rotation and not really looking like he understood what the Celtics were asking of him on a nightly basis, to now he is a superstar in this role. So going from here to here in like a few weeks, to me, that ascension has just taken off, and very similarly to Jeremy Lin back in the day with Linsanity, because you didn't expect it to happen. This has come out of nowhere with Jordan Walsh. And it doesn't look like it's going away. Like, this looks real because he has the athleticism. He has the length. He has the defensive instincts. He certainly has the energy level to play with the level of effort he's been giving. Has he been making some shots? Yes. That's just like icing on the cake. But all those other things, like, those are things that he can bring to the table every night. He might not shoot 40% from three-point range for the season, which he is, by the way. But all of those other things, those are the important things to the Celtics. The shooting is icing on the cake. Speaking of shooting, he's 18 for 19 from the field over his last 3 games. What? This is like a wing who's shooting on the perimeter, a decent clip. 18 for 19 from the field over his last 3 games, averaging 15.3 points per game over his last 4. Truly just an unbelievable, out of nowhere spike in production, in role, and most importantly, in confidence. Like, you can see the way that guy is walking out there on the court. He believes in himself now. The Celtics believe in him now. Not that they didn't before. Not that he didn't before. But, like, now you can see it. You can see it in the body language. And I don't think that's going anywhere. I think Jordan Walsh is here to stay. And he's certainly looking like he can be a key player, not only now for the Celtics, but certainly down the line. All right, let's dive into some comments from our fans. We've got 2 of them tonight. First up is Adrian Betts on why they like this team so much. And then we've got PB on whether or not this run is a fluke.
My son's already in the car. Bye.
I think you're wonderful.
Cut your mobile bill in half and save $65 a month for your first year with Xfinity Mobile. Xfinity, imagine that.
All right, first up, Adrian Betts says, I really, really like this team. The role players are stepping up with no Tatum. Great urgency, both sides of the basketball. Walsh is starting to look very comfortable in the NBA. Very impressive to get it done and never looked like they were losing. All right, the thing that I take away from this, like, first and foremost, I really, really like this team. Yeah, so do I. Is there any Celtics fan out there who could possibly not really, really like this team? Like, think about how hard they play. Think about how much they're surpassing expectations. We turn back to those days of Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, those guys when they were leading the team to those runs that no one expected. Terry Rozier. Like, people loved those teams because they were surpassing expectations, and that's exactly what this team is doing this season, at least external expectations. I think internally, I mean, you know, talking to some people here before the season started, like, a lot of people here thought that the Celtics were going to be much better than people on the outside thought they were going to be. And that's because people on the inside have more information. They're watching these guys practice and play together for a month or whatever before the season started. They could see what they had. But in terms of external expectations, the Celtics are blowing that out of the water. They are number 5 in the entire NBA in point differential. Number 5 in the entire league. No one expected that. So when you've got a team that didn't have a lot of external expectations and now they're doing this, they're going 4-1 against really good teams in 7 nights. They're taking down 5 really good teams in 13 days and beating another by 45 points. And by the way, barely losing that one game in the 5 and 7. They lost by 4 to Minnesota, another really good team. How could you not really, really like this team? The next comment, the role players are stepping up with no Tatum. Yeah, it has been so much fun. Also, if you listen to our podcast on a nightly basis, you've heard me say this many times before, and I'm going to keep saying it. It's so much fun to watch these guys step up and deliver the goods. Like, you just never know which role player is going to have an awesome night. Very recently, it's been Jordan Walsh like every night. But then you've got moments from Anthony Simons. You've got moments from Josh Minott. Baylor Shireman's had moments. Ugo Gonzalez has had moments. Like, it's just so fun to watch the role players deliver. And by the way, Neemias Queta is a role player, but he's playing like one of the better centers in the NBA right now. Another 10 points tonight, 6 rebounds in 26 minutes, couple steals. I just love watching this team play, and that's what it sounds like Adrian Betts is feeling the exact same way. Like, such a fun team to watch. It's so fun to watch the role players, like, deliver night in and night out. Like, there is no night that happens where, like, none of those guys deliver a solid game. On a nightly basis, someone or all of them or most of them are really delivering on their roles and stepping up. So just a ton of fun to watch. I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I hope you can hear it in my voice. Like, I really am enjoying what this team is bringing to the table. I hope you are too. All right, second and final comment of the night coming in from PB, who responds, I'm thinking the C's recent hot streak isn't a fluke. They are dialing into their new identity, rhythm, and roles. All right, so 4 wins in 5 nights, not a fluke. Beating all of those teams in 13 days that have a combined 74-37 record, not a fluke. That is what PB is saying. This team is turning people into believers. If you watched our pregame show with myself and Sean Grandy, he made a comment saying, we were talking about Joe Mazzulla, about how there were some people who are just not believers in Joe Mazzulla, and they're never going to believe. And moments later, I had to respond, and I said, you know, I actually think that some of those non-believers are being turned into believers right now, because how could they not? How could they not when this team is doing what it's doing without that superstar top 5 player in the world out on the court? They're doing this with guys who were cast-offs from other teams. Minott, Garza, like Queta. There's a long list of guys who just simply were not valued by other teams, but with the Celtics, they built them up to become quality role players on a team that's really good right now. And PB doesn't think this is a fluke. And getting back to the point of changing people into believers, how could people who doubted these Celtics before the season and who doubted maybe Joe Mazzulla, how could they not be believers right now? This has been a really impressive run. Really impressive run. Since that first week or so of the season, the Celtics have been playing some of the best basketball in the league. So take that, sit on it, and hopefully it makes you feel nice heading into the weekend. All right, a Friday night beatdown to beat LA. The Celtics take down the Lakers, who I haven't mentioned it tonight. Everyone knows they didn't have Luka Doncic. They didn't have LeBron James. They didn't have Marcus Smart. Who cares? This is Celtics Lakers, and it's the other team's fault if they weren't able to step in and play at a high level in one of the biggest games of the season. And that's exactly what this is. Every time these teams meet, it's one of the biggest games of the NBA season. So the Celtics can only play who steps onto the floor. And not only did they do that tonight, but they beat down the other team that stepped onto the floor. That's the Lakers' fault for not being able to match Boston's intensity and level of play. They don't get any grace from me because of guys who didn't play. That's not the Celtics' fault. So Boston continues its incredible run. And now, believe it or not, after playing so many games in the span of 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, now the Celtics, they get to breathe a little bit. They're off tomorrow. Actually, they're flying tomorrow, so they're not off. But they're flying to Toronto. They're going to take on the Raptors on Sunday at 3:30. We will not have a sound-off episode for that game, by the way. But starting tomorrow, the Celtics will play only 3 games over the next 13 days. So they got through this gauntlet of a stretch in terms of the amount of games that they were playing and against really good teams. Now they get a little bit of rest. So we'll see where the Celtics come out on Sunday afternoon when they take on the Toronto Raptors. And then we'll be back with another episode of Sound Off for the game on December 11th. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And make sure after that next game on the 11th, reply to my post on X right after the final buzzer, and your comment might wind up in our next episode of Sound Off, presented by Xfinity Mobile. Everyone have a great weekend. Hopefully you enjoy this win.